Hi, this is Mrs. Webb, and I had to start this over for the second time because I couldn't get my pen to work. Okay, remember I said we were going to do this in steps. So we talked about how to factor things where the leading coefficient was 1. Okay, the next thing I want to go over with you is no matter what you do, you always factor out the greatest common factor first. Otherwise, it'll make it really hard. So the first two that I'm going to show you are really easy. And then we're going to get into some that are a little bit harder in the next lesson, and you'll see why this is really important. Okay, I'm just going to go over two examples. When I look at this one right here, I'm going to look for the greatest common factor, and one of the reasons I'm going to look for it is I do not like the fact that I do not have a leading coefficient of 1. 1, we haven't gone over how to do that, but 2, it always makes it more difficult. So whenever you see this leading coefficient that's not 1, well, you want to see if you can take out a common factor. Okay, now I believe this has got, if I take the factors of this, got a 1. Oh, let me get my pen going again. Okay, it's got a 1 and a, boy, my pen's really excited here. Let me go try it again. Let me go clear my annotation. Let me go clear it and let's see if I can get it to work. Okay, the 2. The 2 goes into 1 and 2. 1, 2. The 12. It's going to be, let's see, 2 and 6, which would be 2 and 3. Those are all prime. 16. Oh, wow. Well, 16 is 4 times 4. Well, that gives me a 2 times 2, and this one is a 2 times 2. So I'm going to circle. I have a 2 here, I got a 2 here, and I got a 2 here. That's the only thing they all have in common. So the GCF is equal to 2. Now I'm going to take it out. Okay. And what do I multiply by so that it equals this? 2 times x squared would equal 2x squared. This is a minus 6x because 2 times negative 6x gives me the negative 12x. Okay, 2 times 8 gives me a 16. So now when I go to factor, I'm not going to pay any attention to that 2. I'm just going to factor this right here. And when we factor, remember we look at this second sign here. The second sign tells me I want 2 numbers. I'm going to play the game where 2 numbers are going to multiply to 8. Okay, and they have to add to 6. So the 2 numbers, if I take 8 and I go 1 and 8, let's see, 2 times 4, that's it. And they have to add to 6. Well, 1 and 8 adds to 9. 2 and 4 adds to 6. There they are right there. So I'm going to say 2 times x, and I know what goes in my parentheses there. Okay, but now I need to know my signs. Okay, well my signs are, if this is a plus, it's got to be a plus, plus, or negative, negative to get a plus 8. And I go and look at the first sign. The first sign is negative, then it's got to be a negative, negative. And that is my answer if I factor it. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, this one, I'm very upset because this number is not 1. And honestly, we haven't gone over how to factor if the leading coefficient's not 1. So I'm going to see if, is 6 divisible by 3? Yep. Is 24 divisible by 3? Yep. I'm going to take a 3 out. Okay. 3 times what gives me 3x squared? Be x squared. Okay, 3 times what would give me a negative 6x? How about a negative 2x? 3 times what gives me a 24? Okay, so if I distributed that 3, I would get 3x squared, negative 6x, negative 24. Now I'm going to play the game. And the game says if I look at that sign right there, I'm going to look at two numbers that multiply to 8. But because it's a negative, I need to know that their difference equals 2. Well, 1 and 8, the difference is 7. But the difference between 2 and 4 is 2, so I have now found my pair. So I'm going to come down here. I can't lose the 3. It's still there. I've found the 2 and I've found the 4. But what do I do about the signs? Well, the sign says I now go look at this sign, the first sign, and it's negative. And you go and give it to the biggest factor. Who's bigger, 2 or 4? 4. So the 4 gets the negative. That one gets the positive. Okay? Good luck.